a rotten hooker.
I thought I was a good Christian.
I go to church every Sunday.
I thought I was a good Christian.
I go to church every Sunday. I'm a very religious person.
I thought I was a good Christian.
The very lies the serpent told to Eve in the Garden of Eden. Garden of Eden. Garden of Eden. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spread confusion and promote lies. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spread confusion and promote lies. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spread confusion and promote lies. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spread confusion and promote lies. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spread confusion and
Hey everybody, it's Friday, March 23rd. This Non-Religious Life. I'm your host Ken. All the way across the country we have Bob
How's it going?
and Jason.
Hello.
Hey, I didn't forget someone this time.
You did forget him last time.
You did.
Did I really? I totally meant to say it, but then I think I got caught up on the fact that we
I
had
could not sleep all
Robert
week.
Prices.
That's okay. It's just
So, have you guys had a good week?
I have.
Yes.
Yeah. I am addicted to Fable. That's what my week's been.
That's
It's
okay.
all-
And that's why we don't have a topic for the show.
Yeah, that's actually
Right.
Well, no, we have plenty of topics for the show. Don't undermine it, Jason.
That's my job. I can edit and I can undermine. So
This is what happens when we give you the keys to the kingdom, I suppose.
You know, I think that Fable is an interesting. It's an interesting game in that, right? You can do things that are good and things that are evil, and it allows you that latitude. And yet, I played it twice through. Once played it through as the guy that was evil, or the guy that was good, and played it through as the guy that was evil. And evil is so much easier. I mean, like, being evil is a breeze. If you don't care about whatever happens, you don't have any investment in other people, and yet we do it. We do the right thing anyway, even though it's hard.
no, I don't
It's
know.
I don't know. I just think it's an interesting parallel.
Well,
I
that's the
am
way it
playing through
was
and trying
in
to be the good guy
Oblivion.
right now, but it is difficult. Like little things like I can't loot corpses. That's my favorite thing to do in RPGs.
Loot corpses.
But I mean,
Yeah.
in Oblivion, you could do that. You could. I mean, you would side with good and bad. You can even become the walking, vampires and stuff. I was like, I'm gonna play evil. I'm gonna become a vampire. I'm gonna
Yeah, but
stalk people. Then it gets boring.
In Fable, the game is set up that there are rewards that you get for being the good guy, and there's rewards that you get for being the bad guy.
Well, in Oblivion, it's the same thing
Yeah.
because characters act differently to you depending on how you're aligned.
They do act differently, but my point is that when you play the evil character, as far as the game goes, life is easy.
Yeah.
When you play the good character, it's more difficult, and yet most people play the good character, unless they're you.
I think I want to play the evil character next.
I haven't played Fable, so I don't know.
It's cool. Little things, even down to like what you eat, affects your character's purity, like whether or not he's good or evil. So, like, if you just eat vegetables, you're better than if you eat meat. I like that. Maybe it's
Appeals
just
to your vegan sensibilities.
vegan sensibilities of me, but I enjoy it.
All right, well,
So
put
we
down the Xbox, man.
Not to get too distracted off subject. We have a few things I want to get into. A few comments on last week's show, and on YouTube. The show has only been up a little while, and it's already got over 200 views, which I know isn't a lot for most YouTube videos, like the big YouTube broadcasters out there. But we have a whole string of comments. And one of them, it's a back and forth with one person, Jim TrueBlue99, who started getting into when we were talking about the Trinity last week, and he's accusing Dr. Price of leaving out historical context with the Trinity, and I guess kind of he's right, but not in any way that's relevant. He starts talking about Arius. Arius was a 4th century, late 3rd century bishop who was denounced as a heretic at the Council of Nicaea in 325. He believed that God was holy, divine, and Jesus was holy man. Like, Jesus wasn't divine. Because he thought it was nonsensical. And I'm not going to say that I think he's wrong, because the Trinity is nonsensical, but the Trinitarian view essentially got a booster from that council.
Well, because of Arius's heretical views?
Arius, yeah, his heretical views essentially got denounced after Nicaea. And it was actually a little after Nicaea that it finally died out. If you've ever read The Life of Athanasius, it's all defined in there. But yeah, essentially, like, when you're arguing about the Trinity and you try to bring up Arius, you should bear in mind that you're bringing up someone who, in Orthodox Christianity for the last, 1600 years, has been considered a heretic. You know?
And the Council of Nicaea, wasn't that where they decided what the Trinity was?
Yes, essentially, because they came up with the Nicene Creed, which I used to know by heart, but I'll look it up right here. Nicene Creed. It's, we believe in the Father, creator of heaven and earth. Let's see if I can find it online really quick. We believe in one God, the Almighty Father, maker of things visible and invisible, and one Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, begotten of the Father, the only begotten, that is, of the essence of the Father, God of God, light of light, very God of very God, begotten, not made, being of one substance with the Father. And that's the critical point right there. This person was getting into talking about polytheism and stuff like that, and it didn't have anything to do with polytheism. Arius was trying to say that if Jesus is divine, then you are a polytheist. And maybe that's what Jim Truebloos is trying to say, but
I think we all sort of agreed that the idea of the Trinity was sort of a way to work around to try to avoid polytheism.
Yeah. It's the church later on trying to make Jesus divine, but not wanting to be polytheistic. So they sort of paint themselves in a corner because, no matter how you try to logically swing it, you end up with something that they've at one point in time denounced. So, Dr. Price used, my favorite one is the steam, water, ice.
Right, but even he said that's modality.
Yeah, it's modalism, exactly. It's one God who takes 3 different forms. Or you could say that they're all individual parts, but then that's just tritheism. You just have 3 gods there.
Yeah, I like what you said about it there, where you're like, it's just the more you try to explain it, the more you have to just keep talking.
Yeah, you totally do, because if you at any point stop, you're stuck. You're stuck with something you don't want.
Yeah. Well, and even the commenter sort of had that fallback position where they said that it's a boundary beyond which the human mind cannot pass. We cannot comprehend God. And I was like, oh, come on. Isn't that just a lot of hand waving and...
Oh, it's special pleading is what it is.
And then to be accused that we don't get it and then be told, well, you can't get it.
Yeah. You can't get it. And I agree, you can't get it. It's not something you can rationalize. But it is designed to be such. It is, intentionally so that way. Because, again, if you stop talking, you end up with something you don't want. Either it's modalism or tritheism. Trinitarianism is impossible to define because they don't want it to be things that could be defined. If there was no Trinitarianism, if it was just straight monotheism in the manner that Arius wanted it, then there'd be no problem defining God. God could be easily defined. But because they want to attach all these parts to it, it goes out the window. Any reason or sense goes out the window.
Well, I think, Price had a true statement when he said that it's because they wanted to exalt Jesus so much. They wanted him to be divine. And then when you do that, you're stuck with two gods.
Yeah, exactly. You're stuck with two gods. And, that was a problem for a number of people because, this is coming out of Judaism, where monotheism had been established for a couple hundred years. After...
Well, I could see where that would be a problem.
Yeah, you fight for centuries to establish your group of people as, worshiping one God, and then all of a sudden you're going to jump back to two. Why not 3? Why not 5? Why not 365? Why not...
Yeah, 1,000? And I can also see where it would be a problem where you could say, like, oh, well, Jesus was just a demigod. Well, then that's a problem too, because then then you limit his power. Exactly.
It's funny because it's such a nonsensical thing. Like, you could ask someone on the street, and you could stump them because you could say, well, if Jesus was, what does it mean that Jesus was divine? Like, could he ever, like, if he was hammering things together and he hit his thumb, would it hurt? Like, could he get a math problem wrong? Like, how omnipotent is he? Because even he admits his own limitations in the Gospels. When they're talking about the coming apocalypse, he says, only the Father, not the Son, or the angels in heaven. So...
that coming apocalypse that we're still waiting for.
We're still waiting. Did you see that... jump off topic really quick. Our good friend Harold Camping admitted he was wrong.
Yeah. I think that has been the logical progression of where this was going to go. He's been doubling down and just repeatedly doubling down on what he said, and finally he's wrong, and then it's like, well, I got to think about it, and so now he finally meekly comes forward and says, well, I was wrong.
Yeah. And I think he's over it. He's realized that he's not going to be right. He's certainly not going to be right in his lifetime. So,
what a jerk. He sucks. I'd like to see him give back all the money.
Yeah, that'd be nice, right?
That won't happen.
Too bad it's all spent.
He might. Harold Camping, the very fact of his admission, he comes back and says, like, well, turns out you can't know. I thought you could, but you can't. And I was certain that I did know, but you can't. And I'm wondering if Brother Mike has had anything, if he's any peeps out of him lately.
Let's double check. I haven't gotten an email from him in a while, so let's see. May 21st.
And I think what might happen with Brother Mike is he might actually splinter from the camping group and maintain that the end is nigh.
I think he did after the October thing was wrong. Because he's starting to, like, branch out and, like do other things. Oh, yeah, because he thinks May 25th this year is going to be the end.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
We got another one coming.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
21st. All of a sudden, like 2.5 months away.
Yeah, 25th of this month. So, not bad. About 2 months. It's good. And then, we have the big one coming up, December 21st, 2012, which is going to be awesome. I can't wait for December 22nd, 2012.
Because that means that we're just a couple days closer to Christmas.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I do love Christmas.
And that's a reason for the season.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I like Christmas. I celebrate Christmas. It's cool. I don't have to call it something else. It's fine.
Yeah, my winter solstice festival.
Oh, God, I hate that.
Whatever. It makes people feel better, so I don't really
It makes
care.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, let's talk about that really quick.
But summer's
Because-
upon us.
Yeah.
Just
Easter's
just
coming.
language. I was in a discussion not too long ago about someone complaining about people saying, God bless. And it's like, it doesn't offend me. I have a friend he was one of my employees, is no longer. And we always got along great, we had a lot in common. We both played in bands. We both liked very similar music. A lot of stuff like that. And but he's very, very devoutly Christian. And he lost my number and got it back and texted me really quick. And he's like, hey, it's me, hyphen God bless. I know that's just how he is. I take no offense from it. But it's weird because there are people out there who do take like incredible offense to it.
Well, there's a great example for it right now. Chick-fil-A is putting on all their promotional items and their some of their napkins and stuff. It's saying, announcing they are a Christian company.
People didn't already know that?
Well, people don't,
Yeah.
but this is the first time that they've actually printed it,
Publicized it,
on their materials, and people are freaking out about it.
Whatever.
I mean, there's people even saying that because of that, they feel that they should be vocal towards them.
Did Ken? I know as a vegan, you don't go to In-N-Out Burger a lot,
No.
but
When I was vegetarian, I did, but yeah.
but
They're a Mormon company.
they're a Christian owned company,
Mormons, actually.
and they do the thing where if you look on the bottom of the cup,
Yep.
written
the French
really
fries.
small, just on the bottom rim of the cup, it's John 3:16, and that's pretty much as far as it
there's
goes.
Other stuff.
Stone
If you
Cold?
get to the bottom of the French fries, it's the same thing.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
bottom of the French fries, and I think maybe a corner of the wrapper that the burger comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And admittedly, it's discreet, and it's not they're not beating you over the head with it. And fine, I don't give a shit. What do they want? If they want to go to the expense to print that, and they're not the only ones that do it. Christy sometimes she'll buy clothes at Forever 21 because she's little like that and not 21 anymore.
Yeah.
But on the bottom of the bag, the shopping bag that they give you in small print at the bottom of the bag, John
John
3:16.
3:16. Yep. Yeah, I noticed that one day. I remember I was sitting somewhere and I looked at the bottom of a bag. I had a Forever 21 bag in my face for some reason. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, holy shit. I didn't know that. But
And I don't that doesn't bother me. It's when if they want to if they want to put John 3:16 on the bags or say have a blessed day or bless you when you leave or go with God, I don't even care. I mean that's their prerogative to say that.
Well, you know what?
And I don't find it offensive.
no,
Well,
'cause
you know what
it's
you
usually
say to people
well-meaning,
when you're an Iceman when you say bye?
What?
Bless or bless and bless.
Sure, great. I mean that's I don't know. I mean that's just and I know that people don't say it with an intent to offend somebody. They say it out of a perception that it's the polite right thing to do.
Yeah. No, of course. It's no different than if you were in another culture and someone greeted you in some sort of traditional way that was normal to their customs. It's normal.
I hope that tradition
it's
isn't
social
like
interaction.
spit in your eye. That would be awkward.
You'd be like,
Yeah, right.
all right.
It's like bowing in Japanese culture. Like you bow all the time,
Yeah.
and it's just because it's not my culture doesn't mean I should be like, hey, stop doing that.
Well, and I also think that it's contextual in that all we're doing is saying hello and goodbye. If you want to say bless you or go with God, fine. I don't really care. If I'm having a heart attack in In-N-Out Burger and they want to get around me and pray for my well-being, fuck that. Call an ambulance.
Yeah.
I don't want your prayers then.
Yeah, exactly.
Where was your John 3:16 when those fries clogged my arteries?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
That's where you have to draw the line. Is, you know, if it's simple, well-meaning, you know, niceties, then who cares?
Like Merry Christmas.
The problem, and I think this is where a lot of people who are religious get confused about when, you know, we get upset around the holidays concerning, you know, the whole Happy Holidays thing. Is like, it's not usually the religious minorities and atheists and non-religious that get upset about Merry Christmas. It's usually the other way around. It's when a company tries to be more inclusive in their niceties that the Christians get upset.
Yeah.
That they're being excluded. When they're not even really being excluded. They have to let everyone else into the circle. So that's my 2 cents on that.
I think that's a really, like, jerk way of being. Like, why they can't say Merry Christmas, they have to say Happy Holidays. That's wrong. No.
Yeah, right.
You're an asshole. That's not wrong. Be nice.
But we talked about that. We talked about this around the Christmas episode where we were talking about how the flip side of that coin is when people are trying to be defiant by saying Merry Christmas and wait for you to be reactionary for it. And when you're like, whatever, you know.
Yeah, when you're doing it to be reactionary, then you're just being a dickhead.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I think that there's...
And that's why I didn't wish you a happy birthday.
Yeah.
Because you thought it was against my beliefs.
I did not get another year older.
Yeah. God damn it. Math. I am against math. Simple addition irritates me.
You know, I think that there's private beliefs and private feelings and then public displays of those beliefs and feelings. And it is contextual and there is a time and a place for it. And so, you know, if somebody that I know or I don't know, maybe like you go shopping someplace or frequent, you know, a place of business. I don't care that they have one wacky religious belief or another. It's when they act on those beliefs to the exclusion of others or to other people's detriment, I think, is where the problem occurs.
Yeah, exactly. When it begins to negatively affect others. Yeah, and that's what I always say.
Like long,
you know, especially when I get into arguments about, say, like something like smoking bans with people. You're like, oh, I have the right to smoke, and you're just like, your rights end as soon as they begin to negatively affect other people. That's it. Like, you have the right to do anything you want until it begins to infringe on someone else. And I think it's no different. Like, you know, you have the right to practice your own religion until it begins to negatively affect other people. You know, if your religion states that you need to form a world where, you know, gays and women and racial minorities are second-class citizens, well then, no, I have a problem with that.
Yeah, you know, if you're a company that you want to print John 3:16 on the bottoms of bags and cups, fine, go for it. But you know, when an atheist or a Muslim or somebody who doesn't have your particular religious views is excluded from a job or isn't hired or fired because of that, then that's a problem.
So you're saying like if Chick-fil-A was an atheist-owned company, which I'm sure there are hundreds, they just don't stamp it with something.
Yeah.
And you, I don't know. Say there's an atheist quote that was equivalent to John 3:16 that said that it was the statement to show that God does not exist, and you stamped it on all your products. Do you think it would still be just people?
Oh no, I think people would get upset about it. I would kind of dig it. I think it's kind of cool, but I think that the Christian community at large would have a fit. and which is much like the freedom from religion's billboard campaigns.
Yeah,
I mean, they're
much
designed to piss off the religious.
Oh yeah,
but
especially American atheists. And it's funny. I was listening to Silverman talk about that once, and he was like, "That's what we do. Like, we're there to be the hardcore group. If we drive other people to, the nicer groups like like the AHA or whatever, and that's fine."
Are they the ones that had the sign up that took some flack because it was very racially charged? It had a image of an African American slave from the slave trade days, like pre-Civil War, and then it had a Bible quote about the treatment of slaves.
Yeah, and that was Pennsylvania non-theists, I believe.
They were, it was Pennsylvania. I mean, I see their point, and I think that maybe people were reading race into it, but it was still just designed to make people upset. I
mean, how do you read race into it? The whole essence of that is because of race.
Well, the passage itself, right, was, I guess, Old Testament, but the picture was an African American slave, and so the connotation, it seemed like it was addressing African American, the issue of slaves in America specifically, and people found that was offensive. I guess you can't talk about that.
So you're saying if they use another element of slavery in history image, if there was one that existed, you don't think there would be the same outrage?
Probably not. I think the fact that it had the imagery, showed an African American slave, that got people's panties in a twist. More so than the Bible statement. More so than the scripture.
I don't know. People.
I'll have the exact quote for you in a second.
Well, it's like
it's New Testament.
It's like the Holocaust on Your Plate campaign that PETA did. I mean that
made people mad.
That totally made people mad, and all it did was show images of people in concentration camps to extreme animals in extreme confinement and factory farms, and compare, with quotes. And I've never understood why people got upset with the imagery and not with the message.
Right. That's exactly the case that's happening here. People are upset with the imagery because it's African Americans in slavery, not the issue of slavery itself that's condoned by the Old Testament.
It's the New Testament, actually.
Is it New Testament?
It's Colossians 3:22.
And I don't know why everybody separates
slaves, obey in everything those who are your earthly masters, not in eye service as men pleasers, but in singleness of heart, fearing the Lord.
Right, it was slaves, obey your masters.
But Jesus even says to obey the Old Testament.
The whole point that the point they're trying to make is that the Bible, Scripture condones slavery. And
it was like those kids that got in trouble when the church, the religious student group was out chalking the sidewalks, right. and they countered it with the negative stuff like slavery and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so apparently it's okay to talk about slavery, but you can't do that with a picture of an African American slave.
Yeah,
that makes people upset.
Yeah, which is weird. I mean, we live in the United States, and that's the context of slavery in the United States was, African Americans. If you were in other parts of the world, you might show another ethnic group. If you were in Australia, you'd be showing Aboriginals or, something else. But yeah, it's weird that when people take offense to the imagery and not the message.
Yeah, I don't know. It is strange, but yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
We're beating this issue. Let's move along.
Okay. All right.
What did you think about the What did you think about the story about the NASA scientist that got let go because he was espousing creationist and intelligent design, viewpoints.
I think it's unfair, and I think that guy should get his job back. Oh,
Really?
wait, no, I don't.
Yeah, I think it's a bullshit story. Is what I think. I think it's more complicated than that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think we're just getting the spin zone on this story.
Well, of course, I think we totally are. I mean, he's suing. He doesn't, want to say. Apparently, he would evangelize in the office and stuff. And
well, that comes back to my statement about private viewpoints and privately held beliefs and public displays of said beliefs. If he wanted to say bless you or have a blessed day at work, fine. That's never going to get anybody in trouble. But if he's out handing out creationist literature and if he's handing out intelligent design DVDs at work at a NASA lab, I could see how that would upset some people.
No, because your delegated breaks, and as long as you're not on considering company work time, you can hand out stuff. Unless there's a policy in their manual says that there is no promotion of anything. He can leave it in the break room. He could leave it, next to the microwave or whatever. And for people, it'd be more respectful if he got it approved by, his superior first. But he could leave it in the break room or whatever and hand it to somebody who's talking about it and not be.
There may have been such a policy,
and that's what I'm saying. I think we're not getting the full story.
But I don't think that the workplace is the workplace, no matter whether it's a NASA lab or 7-Eleven, that's not the place to be proselytizing. I mean, it isn't, because I'm there too. You're at work, you're stuck there, and we could have a discussion about something, but I just think that it's not the place.
No, I agree.
It's inappropriate.
It's an inappropriate place to proselytize. I think most places are inappropriate places to proselytize, though.
Well, I disagree.
If you ask him about, hey, Steve, I understand you're behind this intelligent design thing. Tell me more about it. Well, then fine, right? He can run off of the mouth all he wants. But to proselytize at work I think is a big mistake.
I disagree. I mean, if it's done appropriately, it's allowed and should continue to be allowed. I mean, if
nobody should be subjected to that.
I don't know. It's a slippery slope, because then you would say people who try to start unions and places that need to have
starting a union isn't proselytizing.
Yeah, starting a union is not proselytizing. Proselytizing religion at work can create a hostile work environment, which is exactly the reason why we have harassment policies.
Well, I'm not looking at it just on that. I'm just talking about any political stuff that makes people uneasy, and talking about organizing the workers makes people uneasy.
This is different. This is totally different. This is organizing workers and workers unions, and maybe just talking about political issues at large. I mean, that's fine. Those are issues that we all kind of have to deal with. But proselytizing at work is that guy saying, hey, have you heard the good news of God? You can avoid hell. You should be this way. You should live your life thus.
Well,
I think it's different.
The same vein is like Fox News says this, Fox News says this, and if you listen to Pacifica Radio, and you're like, well, there's going to be the same heated, aggressive emotions towards either side, political or religious.
I think it's a fine line in a difficult one to define, but whereas I would defend someone's right to organize a union, I do not think it's appropriate for that same person to proselytize.
I mean, I feel if it's done appropriately, then he should.
What is the appropriate way?
With the appropriate way of doing anything. So, like, if say, like, for example, let's put up a couple scenarios. Say if we're in the break room and we're having a conversation. Well, let's talk about it. Let's take it to something personal. I'm vegan. I've been an animal rights activist for a very long time. People get very defensive anytime they ask me why I'm a vegetarian, or why am I not eating meat. and say we're in that break room and the topic somehow comes up and I'm talking about it and I'm giving you information about it and handing it, that's appropriate.
Yeah, but you said the topic came up.
Yeah.
Like, did you bring up or did you sit in the break room and say, "Hey, everybody, here's vegan literature for all of you"?
Well, say if the topic came up that I wasn't in a conversation, and you and somebody else was talking, and one of you were saying vegans are malnourished, vegans don't have, just a lot of unproven statements about being vegan. As an activist, it's like if I was still full force, I would feel it obligated to correct that misinformation. And so I would pipe in on the conversation. And then from there, if available, I would prove my points. Whether it would be literature, whether it be, studies, videos, and whatever. So let's switch that and say I am the Christian. I am in the break room. And there's two people talking, saying stuff that is not accurately true about Christianity or about Jesus or what I believe about. I would feel obligated to say, well, that's not actually true. This is what Jesus actually said. This is what, and then from there.
Okay, that, and I see what you mean, but I don't think that falls into the category of proselytizing. And I would also say,
but again, I'm just saying we're not getting the full story on
agreed.
This. And that's what I'm just making the case that I feel that even that is appropriate in the workplace if done respectfully.
Yeah, but it's kind of like it's also kind of the thing if you want to talk about vegan, like like, hey, I've got a day job at PETA, but then at night I'm the meat cutter at, Harris Teeter. The two are sort of mutually exclusive. I don't think I'd last long at PETA if that news got around.
I don't know what
Well, essentially the guy is working.
Oh, you're saying that he's working at NASA. He's a scientist. Well, no, there's been proof that there are people who believe it, who are scientists who are Christians.
It's not just a Christian. He's working as a scientist, and he has unscientific views.
Well,
I agree. It's fuzzy.
He was a software engineer.
He was that what he was? A software engineer?
Yeah,
I thought he was like one
engineer.
of the JPL guys.
Well, no matter what he is, he still has the right to believe in intelligent design and be a scientist.
He does.
Even though we don't connect the dots to understand why that happens. I mean, I could go work at, not that I would want to or will, but if I got in hard times, the only job that's available, I would cut meat. It goes against my dietary.
Right, but could you work at PETA and be a meat cutter?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Why?
I think they'd can you on the spot.
No, there's meat eaters that work there now.
Who?
I'm not naming names on the show.
I know who, but yeah, all right. Yeah. Well, yeah. And you don't want to say their names because then they might get fired.
No, it's well known. It was well known when I worked there. They're still there.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. True. I mean, no one in any position.
But the condition, that's what I'm saying. The condition is, if you're a campaigner, if you're out in front, if you're in the media, if you're in the spotlight, if you're advocating vegan, you have to be a vegan. You can't be going, you're a vegan, but I'm going to eat meat. I mean, you can work at PETA, which I don't know why you would want to work at PETA and eat meat because it's just silly. But there are people who do it. They're just not people who work on the front lines.
Yeah. It's usually like IT people and AV people and stuff like that, yeah.
Same way that there's a software engineer at NASA who believes in intelligent design. It's a crazy world.
Yeah, I know, and like I said, I don't know if he's I don't think it's that he's not allowed to have these beliefs. It's just that he was proselytizing them at the workplace.
But again, we don't know the full story. So
you're right, and I think there's more to
it very well could have been something completely unrelated to his.
He could have been fired for being a shitty software designer. He's like, oh, wait a minute, I can get the Christian right behind me on this because it pushes an agenda that I believe in. So let's make up this bullshit story that they fired me because I handed out this leaflet.
Yeah. It's like that's entirely possible.
I mean, I know, Bob, you're familiar with Expelled, the professor there who was claiming that he was fired for believing in intelligent design, when really he was fired for not bringing anything of worth to the university. He wasn't publishing papers. He wasn't doing research.
Right.
You know, he was doing nothing. And when he got fired, he said, "Oh, it's because I believe in intelligent design." It's like, no, it's because you're basically not doing what the university hired you to do.
Just the same way that you have a right to be a software engineer who believes, or a scientist who believes in intelligent design, you have the right to make up whatever excuse, the reasons why you got fired.
I admit this smells a little like that.
I think it definitely does. It's got a little bit of a suspicious stink to it, and I mean, if places like NASA fired every single person who, had some sort of weird belief, we wouldn't have enough people to staff NASA.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people who work at NASA. They're pretty unique.
There was a guy. At the research lab I worked at. He was a very distinguished professor, and he did a lot of work, and he was one of the guys. He was one of the go-to guys, and he published a lot and did a lot of really good work. But he was a very devout Christian, and he would literally he would start the day with his students, and they would have a little prayer rally before the day started, and please God, let our experiments go well today, and let reveal to us blah de blah.
Mm-hmm.
I see those things as sort of incongruent. I wonder how people compartmentalize them that way. But
go back to episode 2 episodes ago. What was it? The title that we talked about the other, I can't forget what you named in the show. What were we talking about?
What about motivated reasoning?
Motivated reasoning.
Oh,
well, this is different. I mean, this is some kind of compartmentalization.
Yeah.
And I admit I don't understand it. I don't pretend to understand it.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Yet it happens.
But yeah, we'll definitely keep our eye on that story and see what comes out from it. Because I think right now it's just to sell papers and get blog views right now. People are just pushing on both sides of the fence. They're both going crazy about it. But that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, when you're talking about something like this, as much controversy as you can get, that's what sells. You're going to get attention if you can, make it something controversial rather than something sort of boring.
Yeah.
So, what's next on the plate, guys?
Yeah, I want to talk about the documentary. I mean, because I think this kind of flows into it about the separations of stuff that.
That. And I looked for. I couldn't find the link to the. You'll have to post the link to the.
Yeah.
To the trailer.
And the film he's talking about is The Scarlet Letter, an atheist documentary. There's a trailer on YouTube. We'll put it up in the show notes. The link to it. But we watched the trailer right before this. It looks. It seems to be a lot of talking heads, but it's just talking about the importance of atheists or non-believers to be out more, to talk about it more, and to break down the stereotypes and to break down the bigotry that's involved when you claim to be an atheist, of the negative attitudes that you receive from it.
Well, that I don't know if they had one of the guys from there, but there was that movement to sort of who's the guy that started the Brights movement? It was that Paul Geisert or something like that. that's kind of a failed movement, even though, like, I sort of agree with everything they say and can get behind it. It's just
because it's the worst name for a
well,
ever.
It was the best they could come up with.
If that's the best you can come up with, come on.
But they're also trying to get away from, again, those negative connotations that atheist has.
You just gotta take the name back. It's fine. The reason why atheists have such a negative connotation is because they're so marginalized within society. If the full, and I mean, it's really hard to put that entire group together as a single thing because it's not. But the last ARIS report to come out in the U.S. showed that 16% of the U.S. is non-religious. 16% is a huge portion, and I mean, granted, that's just people who are have sort of vague spiritualities. They might even be Christian, but they don't identify with a single religion. But they're the non-religious. They're the self-identified nuns. Like, if you ask them what religion they are, they would say no religion. And if you had that huge portion of the population saying, "Oh no, we're atheists," it would be such a monumental step towards making atheist not such a dirty word anymore.
Yeah. Well, I think the Brights thing was just trying to rather they thought it would be easier to rather than taking back a word, create a new one.
Take one back, yeah.
And that
it's such a bad title.
Yeah, that just didn't. That whole thing is petering out. I get emails from them every once in a while, but I don't really think they have much going on.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't mind when people use the term, like, say, humanist or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, even humanist is kind of a weird, vague oddity because there are plenty of religious humanists out there. Historically, all of the original humanists were religious people. You had popes and bishops who were all humanists, and some of them were fucking awful human beings. Sir Thomas More, he was, I think he was like the exchequer of England during Henry VIII. He was like essentially the right-hand man of Henry VIII. He was brutal. I mean, he was burning people alive at the stake for being, Protestants and stuff. But he was a humanist.
Yeah, he got his though.
Oh, he did. He certainly did. Henry VIII was a humanist, but I mean, he was a vehement Christian. In whichever way he sort of waffled.
Well, I like secularism.
Sure, but it's I feel like it's too. Why use a $5 word when a 10-cent one suffices?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, how you doing? I missed you.
What is going on over on your end?
Anyway, keep it going.
Yeah,
Jason decided to switch spots.
No, I thought maybe Jason took his pants off or something. Hey, buddy.
Hey.
It's just why go and make up a new word? I think when there's already a good one that suffices. I understand they want to try and get away from the negative connotations, but I think there's better ways to do it.
Agreed. And a good way is to have a big Reason rally in D.C.
Oh yeah,
that's true. And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be going.
I'm not going.
No, I'm certainly not going. If something like that happens here in LA, I'll go. But every time I check these things, it's always like Chicago or DC or something.
Yeah. Well, one of the somebody who's a viewer wrote a comment, asked if we were going to go, and I can't. I'd like to, but I really can't. But he might go, and if he goes, maybe we'll have him on the show.
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah.
See what he thought.
Yeah. So, I mean, just bear in mind, everyone out there, if you go to this, and you have something to say, let us know. Maybe we'll have you on the show. You can talk about it.
Yeah. In fact, I think some of the Tidewater atheist guys are going.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that guy Will
there's a lot of
Patterson is
people
going.
Yeah.
Will Patterson? Yeah, he's good. I like him.
He's a smart guy.
Yeah, he is. He's got his a master's or PhD in poli-sci.
Yeah.
He's got his graduate degree in poli-sci. But it's a hell of a thing to have your graduate degree in. I thought about taking political science once, but I figured I would probably just punch someone halfway through a course. It would devolve into me hitting someone. It's the same reason why I never took any like law courses. I thought about going to law school, but I figured I would probably just end up hitting someone.
Yeah, I can't go to school. It makes me angry.
Yeah, right. Or the same reason why I never took any econ courses, because I figured I would probably just end up hitting someone.
Maybe.
Too many courses that make me mad. You know, if I ever have to read Ayn Rand, I'll probably end up hitting someone.
I like that you're a lit nerd and call it Ayn Rand.
Yeah, well, that's her name. No need to anglicize her name.
Yeah, I'm just saying. It's
Yeah.
people get
Ayn
pissed
Rand.
off when you say Ayn Rand.
Yeah, because it's wrong. Because it's wrong, goddammit.
And
Jason,
wrong
where are we
is
at?
wrong.
About 5 minutes?
Yeah, we're running it.
Okay. I don't think we have anything else to cover, and anything we could cover in 5 minutes. So, I guess it's time to wrap it up.
You should do a rap.
Do a rap? I'm not a rapper.
No, I'm not either. But Bob is.
I am not. I got some dope rhymes.
See? You even know how to
Not
use
at
words
all.
like
Not at all.
He's got skills to pay the bills.
that.
Anyway, let's wrap it up. Son of a
So
bitch.
since I'm out of video, Bob, why don't you wrap it up?
Sure. We're falling apart today.
No, it's just like if I don't answer your phone call, it's because I can't talk to you. So quit calling back. Anyway, go ahead.
Hey, check us out on Stitcher. Write a review on iTunes. You can find us on Facebook. Our website is zombie-popcorn.com. Email at what?
Non-religious
at
at zombie-popcorn.com.
And there's a phone number.
Jason, why don't you finish
Ken,
this?
please note that Bob can't take us out. But anyway, yeah, so everything's on zombiepopcorn.com. Just go there, hang out. If you want to contact us, hit the contact link. Find us on Stitcher, YouTube, and iTunes, and zombiepopcorn.com. Y'all have a good
I
night.
feel like that guy in The Simpsons is going to be like, worst episode ever.
Ever.
Awesome.
We'll be better next week, I promise.
No, we won't.
Can't be worse.
We'll try. Have a good night.
Good night.
Jesus got out here.
I thought I was a good Christian.
Jesus died on a cross. I go to church every Sunday. Jesus got out here. Then I read this. It says Jesus died on a cross for a rotten hooker.
I thought I was a good Christian.
I go to church every Sunday.
I thought I was a good Christian.
I go to church every Sunday. I'm a very religious person.
I thought I was a good Christian.
The very lies the serpent told to Eve in the Garden of Eden. Garden of Eden. Garden of Eden. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spread confusion and promote lies. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spread confusion and promote lies. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spread confusion and promote lies. The gospel of